Supply chain experts react. Adidas is confused, very confused, and you can't blame Adidas. Actually, Adidas is completely lost. I believe that their earnings call was just yesterday, the day before, something like that. So I'm assuming that's what prompted a pretty interesting story. It seems like they have, I would think, we can disagree. I think they have a simple answer, and what would be this: give away the freaking shoes. That's what most people are going to scream, I think. You decide, though. They reluctant, and I say really reluctantly, split with Yeezy. Yeezy was Kanye West. Adidas doesn't know what to do with his stuff. Adidas, I don't know. I don't fault anybody for getting caught up in his anti-Semitic rants. Okay, I don't mind anybody getting caught up in his art and his anti-Semitic rants and the fact that the guy's a full-on nut job. Okay, but let me redirect you back to something. He was really good for their business. We are now learning how good he was for their business. It is shocking how important his line was to their bottom line. We're now learning how important he was. And I said at the time, notice how Adidas is dragging their feet on getting rid of this guy. And I didn't know that much about his product line. I didn't know that much about how, I didn't know there were that many $500 hoodies that were being sold. I didn't know the high tops were going for $1,200. I didn't know it was that important to Adidas. But I did realize and did comment at the time, my gosh, they're dragging their feet. This guy is a train wreck. What are you doing? Now we know. They didn't want to let go. And now he's their problem all over again in a weird way. It's not something I'd thought about. I'm no expert on supply chains. I don't understand why you'd make so many shoes that you haven't sold yet. I don't get that. Help me out a little bit. So Adidas doesn't know what to do with the stuff. The lucrative part of the business is increasingly becoming a nightmare. Adidas finally split with Kanye, Yeezy, a few weeks after. Look, the guy's been on anti-Semitic rants for a long time. He is a nut. A nut. Okay, but the last time, whenever that was the last time, look, man, the guy goes on with Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is not comfortable. Okay, so this is not exactly the face of the franchise you want. So whenever in the trajectory of his anti-Semitic positions, whatever the last one was, is when other people, including his agent and everybody, got away from him. They just ran from him like a hand grenade. Adidas, they didn't quite bail so fast. It took a couple of weeks. Adidas eventually split up. So the world waited to see what Adidas would do. And it was plainly obvious they didn't want to end this relationship. In fact, I argued at the time, and I would still argue with you. And now we know even more. I would tell you, I think Adidas at some point, and I think they were thinking, well, can we just hang with him because maybe the market that we sell these shoes to is not that offended? I don't know that for a fact, but I think how they dragged their feet, I think they were trying to find a way not to do it. I think they were trying to find a way not to get away from the guy, and we're now learning from Yahoo Finance why, because he was incredibly good for their bottom line. My gosh. I didn't know. Who the hell is buying a $400 hoodie? Are you kidding me? The answer is, Jeff, a lot of people. All right, so this is what Yahoo Finance is now reporting. Adidas is still wrestling with how to dispose of $1.3 billion worth of Yeezy shoes after its breakup with the rapper formerly known as Kanye West. This is forcing the German sportswear maker into a big loss at the end of last year and expectations of more pain ahead. My first reaction, like a lot of you, was, hey, sell it. What are you doing? Sell it. Sell, right? Well, there's a catch to that. CEO Bjorn Gulden, I'm sure Bjorn and Kanye have a lot in common, said selling the popular line of shoes would mean, now think about this, would mean paying royalties to Yee, who was dropped by Adidas 5 months ago after making anti-Semitic remarks on social media and in interviews. You know how he works, right? Anybody that asks him, he's going to go on some Hitler rant, right? He's a nut. During an earnings call, The CEO pointed out, quote, many variables about what to do with the shoes now stacked in warehouses, destroying them. Let's walk through all the phases here. Okay, so he's going to argue you can't sell them because if you do sell them, and lawyers might need to help out a little bit on this, if you do sell them, you still have to pay them royalties. Okay, they got $1 billion, $1.5 billion in inventory right now. Okay? And they're staring at this inventory, realizing, wait till you hear what happened to their bottom line. Their bottom line has been wrecked by this relationship. Not in splitting the relationship, not in keeping the relationship. He was that good for their business, as in 15% good. It's tough to go sell enough soccer shoes to make up for that. They got a problem. And now they got a problem what to do with them. So they can't sell them, they're saying, because we got to then pay them. And they're going to say, it looks bad. Yeah? Okay. Burning them. Nope. Who starts that fire? Destroying them, according to the CEO, could raise sustainability issues. I don't know. I don't know what burning shoes is like. Companies have offered recycling solutions, says Golden, restitching them to hide the Yeezy brand so they could be sold, quote, would any of you do that? Let me ask you, CEOs, would you do that? Would you go and send a memo and go, hey, listen, can we find somebody going to change it up a little bit? Just change the look? Now, of course, I don't even know what the Yeezy logo looks like. I have no idea. But if you change it, does it go from a $400 sneaker to a $80 sneaker? Do you go from Yeezy to Skechers in no time at all? So they've talked about, well, we'll just restitch them and sell them. Their answer is that's not very honest. Restitching them, said the CEO, to hide the Yeezy brand so they could be sold is not honest, so it's not an option for us. Adidas split with Yeezy in October. The company is now struggling to find ways to become profitable again and replace its banner Yeezy line, which analysts have said was 15% of their net income. Ouch. Gilden said so many companies were willing to buy the popular shoes, but that would mean paying royalties. So I guess the other people just thought nothing of the ethics of it. But he's saying if we sell it, we got to pay him royalties. He said he's heard from, quote, gazillions of people. Nice word. Gazillions of people that have opinions about this. And of course, when you're sitting on the inside, it looks a little bit different than it looks on the outside. Golden said Adidas is still investigating former employees' allegations that Yee created a toxic work environment. You think? Really? I just notice how they haven't done anything about that. They didn't do a whole lot about that until they had to, right? And the sportswear company knew about his problematic behavior and failed to protect workers. All right. So he is the gift that keeps giving. Students, what do you do? What do you do? I bet you many of you, your first reaction was, oh, come on, just stitch them up and sell them. Okay, but you do know you're a publicly traded company. You're saying this on an earnings call, so you can't hide from this. And I think the CEO is owning the fact that, listen, whatever we do, if we try to sneak around, it's not going to pan out. What's so wrong with giving them away? Help me with that part. I know there's a stigma attached to this, but there's plenty of people in the world that need some shoes, need some stuff. Could you not turn this into a positive? Why is this so difficult? What am I missing here, kids? I know you want to make the money. I know you're staring at the bottom line. The analysts want you to make the money back. But you've already admitted you can't. You can't sell them. You've admitted you can't restitch them. You've already outed yourself as not doing a couple of things I'll bet you people suggested that you do. So you're left with very few options. You can't even burn them. Why can't you give them away? I'm lost. What's so awful about saying, listen, we're proud that we're going to go into fill in the blank area hit by an earthquake. Fill in the blank. We're going to turn this into a pod. I mean, this guy whining on the conference call, on the earnings call, I think has now ruined that part. So I don't know. I don't get this. I really don't. I don't understand why that's not the end answer. I mean, I think some of you would argue just sell them and you pay them the royalties. You might argue that too. But if you're not going to do all those things, I think burning them is offensive. I just think that whole thing sounds icky and is give them away. That's it. Give them away. And try to do a better job of answering for why you give them away. And don't say things like gazillions. So what are you going to do, kids? There's no textbook for this one, I'm pretty sure. And in my class, we don't talk about supply chain, so I don't know what to do. So what are you going to do? Jeff says, turn it into a positive, give them away. Give them away. Find as many places of which people need some shoes and clothing, some emergency situations. Make a big deal out of you're doing the right thing out of a terrible circumstance. Get something out of this.